Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaja's daily class. Today we are continuing the Srimad Bhagavatam series of first canto, 15th chapter, Pandavas retired timely, verse number 9. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining and giving your association. You can please take over, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yatejasam nipasarangrim maham makaryartam. Yatejasam nipasarangrim maham makaryatam. Aryan nujastava yutata sattvaviryaham. Tena vitan pramodata natamakayan bhupa. Yan mochitastan anayan balim advarete. Translation. Your respectable younger brother who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings have been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha Mahabhairavya Yagya, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. I'll read again. Your respectable younger brother, who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings have been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairavya Yagya, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. Purport. Jarasandha was a very powerful king of Magadha, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Brihadratha, was also a prosperous and powerful king of Magadha, but he had no son, although he married two daughters. The king of Kasi, being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the two queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest, he was benedicted by one great son, and he gave him one mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so, and very soon were pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the ripe time approached, the queens delivered one child in two parts, one from each of the queen's wombs. The two parts were thrown into the forest where a great she-demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the two parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she-demon was known as Jara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with a nice child. The king was very pleased with the she-demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she-demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the child was surnamed Jarasandha, or one who was joined by Jara, the she-demon. In fact, this Jarasandha was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon, Viprachita, the saint by whose benedictions the queens bore the child were called Chandrakausika, who foretold the child before his father Brihadratha. Since Jarasandha possessed demonic qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Lord Shiva, the lord of all ghostly and demoniac men. Ravana was a great devotee of Shiva, and also Jarasandha. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Bhairava, Shiva, and by his military power he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher before Mahabhairava. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairava or Kalabhairava in the province of Bihar, formerly called Magadha. Jarasandha was a relative of Kamsa, the maternal uncle of Krishna, and therefore, after Kamsa's death, King Jarasandha became the great enemy of Krishna, and there were many fights between Jarasandha and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarasandha might not be killed. Therefore, a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna together went to Jarasandha in the dress of poor brahmanas and begged charity from King Jarasandha. Jarasandha never refused charity to any brahmana, and he performed many sacrifices also. Yet he was not on par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna asked Jarasandha for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarasandha would fight with Bhima only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarasandha, and Bhima and Jarasandha fought every day for several days. Bhima became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarasandha being joined together as an infant. And thus Bhima dissected him again, and thus he was killed. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairava were thus released by Bhima. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to King Yudhishthira. Gyan Gina Sarakaya. Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya. Vimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Veni Satarane. Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhupe Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're hearing about this very powerful king of Magadha, Jarasandha. As it's described, his name was given by a she-demon. Sanda means to join. Jara means the name of that she-demon. So the she-demon, as it's described here, found him in the forest in two parts. And she joined the parts, he became whole, and she presented him to his father. And he grew up very powerful. It says here he was also related to Kamsa. Actually, Jarasandha had two daughters, Prashuti and can't remember the other one. Two daughters, and they married Kamsa. So Kamsa's wives, he had two wives, both were daughters of Jarasandha. But when Kamsa was killed by Krishna, two girls no longer had a husband, so they returned to their father to live. When this happened, Jarasandha became very angry at Krishna and took revenge against Krishna. And it says here, Krishna wanted to kill him, but he didn't want to kill his armies. So a plan was made where they came in disguise, Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima, as Brahmins. And knowing Jarasandha to be very magnanimous for giving charity to Brahmins, they begged charity from Jarasandha. And Jarasandha could understand that they don't look like Brahmins. They look very powerful. They look like Kshatriyas. And finally, it was understood that it was Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima. And so the request was made to fight with one of us. And Jarasandha could pick who he could fight with. He said, Krishna, you're a coward. You ran away from the battlefield so many times. I'm not fighting with you. And Arjuna, he's younger than me and much inferior in strength. But Bhima is equal. So he chose Bhima. And the fight went on for several days, as it's mentioned here, and no one could win. Bhima had the strength of 10,000 elephants, and so did Jarasandha. He was a very powerful demon. He was able to subdue thousands and thousands of kings and put them in camps simply by his own military power. And then he would perform human sacrifices to Mahabhairavya. Now, he was a very powerful demon. Just at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, when everyone had become victorious, the Pandavas had now taken the throne. There was a concern at that particular time from these kings who presented themselves to Krishna when Krishna was at the assembly house. in Dwarka, along with Yudhisthira, and they were planning for the Rajasuya sacrifice, which was the sacrifice to declare that Yudhisthira was now the king of the world, the emperor of the world. That sacrifice takes at least 2 years to perform, along with great amounts of wealth. So there was some decision on when we should do it, how we should do it, and Yudhisthira immediately elected Krishna to be the person to be honored at the Rajasuya sacrifice. During this assembly meeting, one messenger appeared at the door, and he had a message for Krishna. And the doorman, who was a security, alerted Krishna that we have a messenger here. He has a very urgent message. He would like to deliver it to you. And Krishna gave permission, and he spoke, and it was actually a letter written by the 10,000 kings who had been imprisoned by Jarasandha. They were about to be sacrificed. Now they were afraid of their lives. They were praying to Lord Krishna for mercy. Please save us. It became a concern to either go ahead with the Rajasuya sacrifice, which took a lot of time, attention, and wealth, or to respond to the kings who made this plea. And so Krishna opted for Uddhava to make the decision. And Uddhava said, my dear Lord, as long as Jarasandha is still alive, there will be no success in the Rajasuya sacrifice. He must be eliminated first. The decision was based on good intelligence. Everyone immediately cheered Uddhava's decision, and then they went, and then the fight between Bhima. So he was one of the last kings to be killed just before the Rajasuya sacrifice. Of course, there were a few others, such as Shishupal was there. Dantravarka was there. Pondraka was there. And many others. Pavitranaya Sarvanam Vinasanaya Chatuskritam. That Krishna comes to the material world for 3 reasons. When irreligion takes such a plunge in human society that there's a need for bringing back religious principles and to destroy those who are propagating irreligion, such as the demons. So Krishna comes, and he comes to eliminate the demons, and by his presence, he reenacts true religious principles. So that is the reason why Krishna appears. Of course, there was a third reason, which is a more prominent reason, and that is to give pleasure and his association to his devotees who worship him, and who were also being harassed by demons. So now, in this material world, the demons are always causing problems with bad legislation, wars, planned poverty, so many programs to harass, exploit, and destroy the population. And sometimes devotees even feel a little disturbed by what is going on in the world because of the demons. But Krishna came in the form of the holy name. So by chanting the holy names with great attention and devotion regularly, every day, without fail, one will be able to push back the influence of the demoniac influence in the world. And when this is done on a mass scale, then the demons will actually flee. and fear. So the holy name is Krishna himself in sound. Kali Kale Namarupa Krishna Avatar. Krishna has appeared in the sound of his name, and he is non-different than his name. His name is completely as powerful as he. Habinna Twam Nami Nami. No, his name is non-different than him. It's pure. And it has all of the qualities of Krishna. That means one is protected by and one is uplifted by the holy name of the Lord. And therefore, the demoniac influence, no matter how powerful it may get, will also cause disturbance in the world. And they do that, especially for the non-devotees. They make the whole world hell. But for the devotees, it's just a disturbance because we go on with our devotional life despite the demons. We don't worry about them because they're just insignificant insects. But if they become too powerful and too influential, then what happens that even the devotees get disturbed. And then when Krishna comes, he's already here, but he comes in a more powerful way as the devotees push back the influence to the Harinam Sankirtan movement. So demons will always be there. Look what Krishna had to go through. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the source of all existence. Whenever he is present, everything is auspicious. But still, the demons, when Krishna was in Vrindavan, Kamsa was sending demons every day. Actually, it's mentioned in Ajiva Goswami that 2 demons per day were coming to Gokul or Vrindavan, and Krishna was dispatching them one after another. We hear about the prominent ones, such as Aristasura, Keshi, Homasura, and who else? Agasura, Bakasura, Putana, Trinavarta. These were the prominent ones, but it's understood that Krishna was killing at least 2 demons per day. This on schedule. So the demons will always harass the devotees or harass people in general. There's no peace in the world because of the demons. They just cause trouble for everybody. And they take powerful positions and legislate their evil intentions through economic, political, and social mandates. So the world's like this hell because of the demons. But Krishna is here in the holy name, and as the holy name spreads, the influence of the demons will also diminish. This is the only way to bring about peace in the world. So devotees should take shelter regularly with chanting. Not that we simply do our 16 rounds and then we put our beads away to the next day. Chant as much as possible. Chant whenever you have an extra time, or make time for chanting. Chanting is so nice. If you chant regularly, you'll start to develop a nice taste for chanting. Regular chanting brings about a sweetness in the chanting that devotees want to continue to chant more and more. As Srila Prabhupada says, when one is actually chanting, he'll think 16 rounds, why not 16,000 rounds? It's so nice. But because we're in the mode of passion, we have a tendency to think success means to getting things done. If some project is there, some activity is there, we have to do that, and we become accomplished in it, and we successfully execute it. And that's nice, and that's devotional life also. But we should also understand that the best form of service is to please the Lord by glorifying Him, by chanting His only name the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So for a serious devotee, the holy name never leaves. That devotee is always chanting, either in the mind or just whatever they're doing. And when they get a chance, when they're on their beats, they chant and chant and chant as much as they like. Sometimes they go way beyond 16 rounds, even beyond 32 rounds. Just like the counter beads that we have, you notice there's 20 beads on the counter beads. 16 beads for the 16, and the other four extra beads, or every time you complete 16 beads, you put one of those down. And so we're meant to chant 64 rounds a day. That was the original intention. The counter beads are indications of that. But Prabhupada knew we couldn't accept such austerity, so said 16 rounds. But devotees should look for opportunities to chant more and more. And go to sanghas, go to the temple, take part in kirtan programs, organize kirtan melas, chant more and more. And as Srila Prabhupada said, he was just listening to Prabhupada today, he was saying, chant Hare Krishna, and if you feel a little tired, take a little prasadam and take a little rest, not long, get back up, start chanting again, and this way continue in that way, always connected with Krishna and his holy name. That is Krishna consciousness. Yeah. And the demons in this age are not like the demons in the age when Krishna was there. And the ones when Krishna was there were very, very powerful. They had mystic power. They had many powerful armies. They had much strength, and they were very active. Nowadays, the demons are very active, but they hide behind political and social agendas and make wars in the name of economic development. So now the demons are they're actually quite cowardly. They never come out and fight in the open because then they have no power, really. Their only power is their power to take over political and social and economic positions in the world and create problems through politics. But they're all cowards, most of them. Anyway, this is a nice, you get a little insight about Jarasandha. Very, very powerful demon. And Bhima couldn't kill him. Bhima had such strength. But only when Krishna gave the hint how he could be killed. Krishna took a twig and he broke the twig in half. And that was indicated to Bhima that you could kill him by breaking him in half. So the two parts were joined together by this she-demon, he became whole. So he simply reversed it. He put his foot on one of his legs and was able to pull the other leg up and rip him right all the way up from his scrotum all the way up to the head. He divided him in half again, and he no longer was alive. Yeah. Interesting fight. So without Krishna's signal, who had the intelligence how to kill him, Bhima wasn't able to do it. And so this is also a very instructive point, that whatever we need, whatever we want to accomplish, we should always depend on Krishna. Krishna is the intelligence, Krishna is the ingredients, Krishna is the results, Krishna is everything ultimately. So devotee wants to become so absorbed in Krishna that not for one moment they don't forget Krishna. And if you remember Krishna at the time of death, which is the way one becomes qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, and one has to practice remembering Krishna always. When the time of death comes, it will become natural. Sometimes people think, oh, yes, I'll remember Krishna at the time of death. Right now, I'll go on whatever else I'm doing. And Krishna won't allow that. It's not whatever you made important in your life, that will become the means by which you take your next birth. So we have to practice. The Prabhupada said, become Krishna addicted. Krishna Matta, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. One should hear about Krishna more and more. One should serve Krishna in as many ways as possible. One should associate with devotees who are absorbed in serving Krishna. Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and the devotee and Krishna for his devotee. He sees his devotee wants him so much that he gives himself to that devotee, and the devotee becomes constantly happy in Krishna consciousness, because all he can think about and serve is Krishna, and Krishna gives him so much mercy. The non-devotees, they want Krishna's energy. They don't want Krishna. They want what he produced. They're not interested in him as a person. They worship God. They even pray like that. Give us our daily bread. They pray to the Lord for material things, and they call that devotion to God. But it's devotion to material things, not devotion to God. But a devotee doesn't worry. Krishna provides whatever the devotee needs. The devotee is always happy. If they get a lot, they're happy. If they get a little, they're happy, because if they're with Krishna, they're always happy. So they're never lost. So Krishna says, never become lost to me. And if we never become lost to Krishna, Krishna will never become lost to us either. He will always be there. Even if we forget Krishna sometimes, because we want to remember Krishna, he will help us remember him, remind us that we should be remembering him. When he sees a devotee trying to worship him and serve him nicely and remember him always, even when the devotee forgets, Krishna reminds, oh, you wanted to remember me. Okay. That's Krishna. He helps the devotee become Krishna conscious. Okay. So we can stop here.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much for the class. Yeah. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead, and I request everyone to please turn on cameras if possible. Yeah, you can unmute yourself or raise the hand. Yes, Raj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Very much, Hare Krishna. It's a humble obeisance of glory, Srila Prabhupada, all praise to Maharaj. Maharaj, can you tell me the story behind how is it that the two queens they ended up having half a child each?
Well, they
Extremely
each,
unusual.
yeah, they each ate the same mango. They split the mango in half. That mango was given by that sage, and both queens took of the same mango. So that was a yagya, that mango. That mango was powerful to produce a child, but because they divided the mango in half, each were able to produce only a half a child. You might say, using that, if one of the queens would have ate the mango, then there would have been one child. But the sadhu, what's it, Bhadranath, Brihadnath, he wanted to be kind to both queens, so he split the mango in two. And therefore, each queen was able to give only a half a child.
Was the king a demon? How comes that Jarasan was a powerful demon?
What was the question?
So Jarasan was a demon. So how is it that he became a demon? Did he come from a demonic family?
He was raised by Jara, the she-demon.
Aye.
She found him as a little baby in two parts. She put him together. She joined him together by her power, and then she raised him as her own child. And at one point, she gave him back to the father. So he was raised by Jara for a while. His mother,
Okay.
yeah.
That was enough to make him a powerful demon.
Yeah. And then he started worshiping Lord Shiva for material gain. Yeah.
Maharaj.
Yeah. In one sense, his real mother was Jara. So she brought him back to life, and she also raised him.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Maharaj, there is a question on chat by Vrishabh Prabhu. He's asking, Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev, when I suggested my authorities here to chant sometimes a whole day, they say that is fantastic. Sometimes it's hard for me to chant always, but I can meditate on Krishna. Is that also okay?
Well, if you can think about Krishna all day, as opposed to chanting seems to be a lot easier than meditating on Krishna, especially in this age. But if you can do unbroken meditation, then that's wonderful. I don't think anybody is qualified to do such in this age. That's why meditation on the form of the Lord is not a recommended means for self-realization, although it was in previous ages. In this age, it's Harinam.
Yes, Maharaj, yeah. Yeah, even I feel difficulty, like even though I'm engaged in many Krishna conscious activities, mind will be occupied with so many thoughts all the time. So it's hard to meditate on Krishna. The easy way is to chant. Yeah, I feel the same, Maharaj.
Yeah. All right. If you wear glasses, you can put an imprint of Krishna right on the inside of your glasses. And then you can see Krishna everywhere. It works.
Still,
I don't know. You might decide that, of course, if you're looking at Krishna on the inside of your glasses, don't worry, Krishna will protect you from bunking you into walls and falling.
then nobody will be service Guru Maharaj.
After a while, you'll think, boy, this is called real Krishna vision.
Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept humble obeisances. O glory Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, throughout our scriptures, whenever a king can't have children, they always go to a rishi and they're given like a boon or benediction to have a child. There's so many examples, like I think Ram's father, the way the Pandavas were born, Rishabdev, there was a sacrifice done for him. So why is that? Why do they have to go to like a rishi or do a sacrifice or something?
Hey, I'm walking along the street and a couple comes up to me and says, "Hey, Maharaj, my wife's pregnant and she's standing there. Can you bless the child?" I get it all the time. Still goes on today. Of course, I say, well, best wishes. Make sure you chant the holy names while the child is still able to hear in the womb. That way, when it comes out, it has a nice start in life. And it's just traditional, it's cultural. People who are pious, they ask for blessings. People who are impious think that they can give blessings. People who are pious, they know that with the blessings of a sadhu, the blessings of the Lord, that gives auspiciousness to their life. You know that, right?
Yes.
You came from the same culture, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
I was more curious about what is it that a sadhu or rishi, what power do they have by the child? When a king can't bear a child, that they are then able to have a child, like having that mango, for instance, or being given some.
Well, there's two kinds of power. There's material power and spiritual power. For the sadhus and the saints, they have spiritual power. Therefore, they're connected with the Supreme Lord. And if the Lord wants to give blessings through that person will get the blessings. That's why they go. For the materialist, there are some who have mystic power, like yogis and stuff, like Vishwamitra Muni and what was that Muni? Durvasa Muni. They have mystic power, and they can also produce something material by their power. That's a developed power. But that's material.
So ultimately, it's the blessings of the Lord that comes through the rishi or the sage.
Yeah, because say an actual holy man never thinks, I can give blessings. Who am I? They think, because I'm worshiping Krishna, and it's Krishna who give the blessings. And it's up to Krishna to give the blessings. He may not want to give the blessings. So therefore, when they offer blessings, they always think of the Lord at the time of offering blessings. Or they may even give some spiritual advice, which will somewhat inspire people in their Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Marge. That's helpful. Also, I had a second question. On my Tulsi beads, I find it really useful that they go from a large bead down to a small bead at the end. Because for me, it helps me establish mindfulness that each bead is a different size. I just wanted to ask you, is that the purpose behind it, or is there another reason why they go from big to large, small?
Yeah, it says that you're talking about your japa beads, right?
Yeah, yes.
It says that on the bigger side, after the 8th bead, you must tie a string after your 8th bead. And those first 8 beads, the 108 beads are the 108 gopis. There are many more gopis, but these are the 108 principal gopis. And the first 8 are the Astasakis. So the beads are non-different than the gopis. And the connecting top, that's the Krishna bead. That we don't chant on. So the beads are also indications of great personalities, such as the gopis. And so we usually start when we chant, we always start from big bead and go down towards the small bead. And then when we get to the last bead before the Krishna bead, we reverse and go back the other way. And so that's 2 rounds. When you go down and up, that's 2 rounds.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. Scarlett Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for today's class. And I'm so sorry that I can't have my camera on. My computer is not good. I have a question about this person, this Rishi who gave the mango. He didn't give a mango for both wives. He gave only one mango, and it meant to have for one wife. Isn't it cheating? Well, maybe because it was cheating that he did half of it because he couldn't choose to which wife to give. So he thought it's maybe better to just do it a half and give half to each. Isn't it considered like cheating?
I don't think you can speculate about the intention of the sadhu when he did that. And the sadhus are not out to cheat people. It's just the way it happened. You just accept it the way it happened, that's all. You can't figure it out, why he did it, why he did it a certain way. That's the way it happened.
Okay, thank you. The other thing I very short want to ask, since I come to the movement, because I hear all the time that we are part and parcels of Krishna, I have difficulty to not to anything I see, not to think this is Krishna or is this Krishna. I'm not saying that this is Krishna. I just all the time thinking, I wonder, is this Krishna? I wonder, is this all day long? I go around and anything I see, anybody I see, any behavior I see, I ask myself and I ask Lord Krishna, Krishna, is this means that is you? Why is that? Can I get help not to do a thing that way? Thank you.
Well, you're playing with different levels of consciousness, and you have to act according to your level of consciousness. So, therefore, we discriminate between what is Krishna and what is not Krishna, for the sake of execution of our devotion. In other words, what is favorable and what is unfavorable. That is our level of practice. On the highest level, there is nothing but Krishna. You can't act on that platform because you won't be able to do anything and you'll fall down anyway. It's artificial. If you try to be a PhD when you only got a MA, it'll be false. So it's a matter of consciousness. So in the execution of devotional service, we accept the instructions of the spiritual master that we should follow things that are favorable for our Krishna consciousness and reject and distance ourselves from things that are unfavorable. And the question is, you have to know the difference between the two. And that comes by reading the Shastras, hearing from the spiritual masters. And there is also listings in the book of what is favorable and what is unfavorable. So on that level, we can perform devotional service. Don't artificially try to put yourself in a state of a Mahabhagavat who sees everything in Krishna and simply sees everyone in relationship to Krishna. It's that artificial type of consciousness will cause us to fall down in our spiritual practice. Can't imitate that.
I'm sorry, I don't think that is this that is Krishna. That I think I always have a question in my head. Is this Krishna? Is this Krishna? Not that I'm thinking, oh, this is Krishna, this is Krishna, this is Krishna. Just it's pops up all the time. Question: is this Krishna? Is this Krishna? That is what I mean. Not that I'm thinking this is Krishna, this is Krishna.
Well, you should see the energy and the source. Don't try to see Krishna as from the absolute point of view. See him in relationship to his energy. That's all. What you see in the material world is his energy.
Thank you.
Bhikkhu Prabhuji, you have a question? You can please go. You're muted. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, it took me time to click the unmute. Firstly, please accept our pranams and our heartfelt obeisances, Maharaj. I really enjoyed listening to your class today. Although a latecomer to Krishna consciousness, I am following whatever you have guided me. Frankly, it has been a struggle, but I'm doing consistently 16 rounds. Of course, to relish that chanting is the aim, but with Krishna's mercy, your blessings, it will come. And the most important thing I learned today was the importance of doing as many rounds as possible. So thank you, Maharaj. The only question I feel comes to my mind and comment is when somebody like Jarasandh prays to Lord Shiva for any boon and he is able to do human sacrifice, it doesn't seem to make sense. Is there any comment or how can Lord Shiva accept this situation? Hare Krishna.
Well, he was worshipped by the demons also. Ravana was a devotee of Lord Shiva. Hiranyakashipu was a devotee of Lord Brahma. The demigods also accept worship if one follows the principle, especially Shiva. He's called Kali Bhairava also. So yeah, the demons also worship Shiva, but they don't get Krishna. They simply may get some material benedictions. Yeah, if you read the Bhagavatam, towards the end of the 10th canto, finds that the devotees of Lord Shiva are more materially prosperous than the devotees of Lord Krishna, because he gives material benedictions. So people like to worship Shiva because they can increase their material benedictions. But if they worship Shiva as the supreme Lord, rather than just a demigod, then gradually Shiva brings them to Krishna through their worship. Shiva's very complex, very diversified, very mysterious, plays many roles at the same time. But for the devotees, he's Vaishnava Yata Shambhu. He's the greatest of all Vaishnavas. I mean, when Banasura was a disciple of Lord Shiva, when Banasura was in trouble fighting against Krishna, at one point, Shiva came to help the devotee, and he fought against Krishna. And that's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Shiva and Krishna was in the fight. And Krishna defeated him. But Shiva actually, because it was his devotee, it's up to the guru to protect their devotee. And so he took the side of his devotee against Lord Krishna. Of course, Krishna chastised him afterwards for saying, "Why are you fighting against me?" But he did. So he does that sometimes. Even today, people worship Shivas. Even the demons today, they worship Shiva.
Thank you, Maharaj. Our total surrender is to Krishna.
Yeah. We can pray to Shiva for Krishna consciousness, and he'll help. Because he's Vaishnavat Yata Shambhu, he's the best of all Vaishnavas. But he's inclined to the worship also. When Ram was fighting against Ravana, at one point Ravana was being defeated. He called for Shiva to help him. And Shiva didn't go. Parvati said to Shiva, "Your devotee is calling, why are you not going?" And Shiva said, "I can't. That's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ram." But when it came to fighting against Krishna, he did. But he wouldn't fight against Ram. That's interesting. Because Shiva actually is a devotee of Ram. He actually worships the Supreme Personality as Lord Ramachandra. That's his internal mood of worship. But he also glorifies Krishna too. In the fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24, the whole chapter is prayers by Lord Shiva to Lord Vishnu. So Shiva plays many roles.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's complex, but I appreciate.
So we say, if you determine to worship Shiva, worship him as the Supreme Lord and not as a demigod. And that way he'll bring you to Krishna. Or Ram. Brahma Bole Chaturmukhe Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Mahadeva Panchamukhe Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Kanchanabji Prabhuji, you have a question.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj. Maharaj, sorry I joined the call late, so I didn't hear the actual class, but something came to mind when you were discussing the instruction of the spiritual master. And it's something I've been thinking about quite a bit recently, because something I've noticed with devotees is that devotees really want instruction from the guru. They can approach the guru, I mean, maybe you had this experience, Guru Maharaj, give me instruction. And what I'm starting to notice is, in terms of I guess the question is how to balance wanting an instruction from the guru, but also being able to use our own intelligence to apply what the guru would want us to do.
Why separate it and do one or the other? Do both.
But should the disciple ask the guru all the time about small things?
No, the guru's instructions is to help you make intelligence, so you can start to understand how to serve the guru nicely without having to be asking every minute.
Yeah.
As a child, the child needs constant guidance. As the child grows up, he learns, and therefore the guidance comes in the growing process, and then he starts to understand how to do things. Well, when it comes to very, we say, important decisions, it would be helpful to get advice from the spiritual master.
Yeah. And so one thought I was having was, sometimes I was thinking maybe it was just a thought. I don't think it's a good thought, but the thought I was having was, would it be that sometimes just saying, like when we say Prabhupada got the instruction from his guru to go to the West, etc. So I was just thinking sometimes when we speak to devotees, would it be not better, but suitable, I guess, would it be suitable to say Prabhupada went to the West on request of his guru? Is because I guess the word request came to me while I was chanting one day when I was thinking about this term instruction, because I was thinking, would request kind of makes it in one sense that we still use our intelligence, but in the other sense, I feel that the word request takes away surrender. And I just kind of wanted what you think of that word request in terms of instruction, because
it seems like if you're requesting, you're actually surrendering, as opposed to taking away surrender.
Okay.
More in that line. Like Prabhupada's instruction to go to the West was the same instruction he gave to all of his followers. That was a general instruction. He told his disciples to go preach in the West. And the ones that were more inclined did go. Many of them went. They went to France, they went to Germany, they went to the UK. But only Prabhupada succeeded. But Prabhupada uses intelligence how to preach. It's not that he was. Of course, Bhaktisiddhanta had already left the planet. So in that case, he had the instructions, now how to carry it out. But it's not that, in 1922, in their first meeting in Uttadanga Junction Road in Calcutta, Bhaktisiddhanta gave him the instructions directly. Go to the West, you were a very intelligent young man. But Prabhupada couldn't understand the instructions or couldn't accept it at that time. And then in 1936, just before his spiritual master had left the planet, he wrote him a letter and said, "How can I serve you?" And Bhaktisiddhanta repeated the same instructions.
Yeah. Okay. The request is surrender, and it's in one sense the same.
But as a general principle, if you in the nectar of devotion, the 64 items for execution of devotional service, the first 5 are Adau Guru Vasya, which means the first 5 instructions are centered around the spiritual master. One of the 5 is that at one point in one's execution of devotional service, one should approach the spiritual master and ask, how can I make more advancement? How can I, what else, what service can I do, or what, in other words, again, approaching the spiritual master for guidance and instructions. That's mentioned in the Nectar Devotion as 5 principles. The first one is to take shelter. Second one is to take initiation. Third one is to and I noticed from my experience, devotees don't do that. They don't ask for further advice. Sometimes they're afraid. Because the spiritual master might say something they don't want to hear. So they don't ask.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Very well.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice question. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? I don't see any questions, Maharaj.
Okay.
Yeah, you have an announcement to make, Maharaj?
No, not really. Not that I can think of.
Can I humbly please ask for Japaran, please?
Japa? We
Yes,
can do one
please.
round. Yeah, we can do
Thank
one
you.
round.
Yes,
Thank
Maharaj.
you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
It's nice. Yeah, I think it's always a nice request. Okay. Sanjana,
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
yeah, I'm coming to the UK around the 19th of January.
Oh, great.
Can you give me some of those pads again?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. No problem.
Thank you. Keep me warm in the wintertime.
Sure, Maharaj.
Okay. Okay, Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you all devotees for joining, and it was a nice question answer session. Thank you all. See you all tomorrow again. Hare Krishna Maharaj, have a blissful yatra in Puri. Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare